All right, what's going on, y'all? We back with another video by Alex Rollins, one of my favorite football YouTubers, bro. Very interesting videos, very informative, very knowledgeable. Just gotta say I like him all around. It's a lot of informative things, you know what I'm saying? A lot of things to learn from this guy. And then just the content itself, very much quality content. So the title today is Ezekiel Elliott versus Tony Pollard, the Cowboys' big dilemma. Tony is the younger back, faster, at this point more athletic. Zeke has been slowing down, putting on pounds here and there, he is the bigger back, more looking as if he's to be more of a bruiser. At the beginning of his career, he had bruiser ability, but was a fast running back. So we didn't look at him as such, but then it seemed like he added weight, whether that be to have more of an impact when it comes to being a dominant downhill runner. Whether that's the reason he added weight or not, or it was unintentional or intentional, he did add weight, and it did look like it affected his speed. Injuries do play their part. He is a running back. He was at one point considered the best running back in the league. I never looked at him like that, but he was considered that. At this point in his career, slowing down. Let's see how old is Ezekiel Elliott? I don't even think he's that old, honestly, but it's just I think everything catching up. 27. He's not that old at all. Wow. It seems like I feel like he's been in the league so long. When did he's been in the league for a while? He got 7,000 rushing yards. He was drafted in 2016. So that's 6 years. Wow, kind of flew by. Definitely flew by. But yeah, man, it feels like he's up there. 27 is not bad for a running back. It's getting up there, but it's not bad at all. But the running back position is a youthful position. You see with the 49ers, they just rotate backs like it's nothing, and they just put young guys in there. They're not looking to pay nobody big money. Patriots just rotate running backs. It's about just what you bring to the table. If you have a good system, you don't need a top tier running back. You need to pay running backs if you have a good system. So it's my bad. It's understandable when Cowboys have a good system. The Browns have a good system. What's his name? Dearness Johnson came in last year. I mean, he's not Nick Chubb and he's not Kareem Hunt, but he came in and had a 100-yard game in their absence. And he was a third string running back. Even though I like Dearness Johnson, I thought he was nice anyways. But still, it's about the system and the O-line. If you got everything right, you just plug in a solid running back and he gonna look good, But that's not to discredit Zeke, but Tony Pollard is, again, more athletic and more explosive. And we'll see how this plays out. Again, looking forward to this video. Josh Jacobs or Zeke? I mean, both of them have been missing time. Availability is the best ability, so I might take Zeke, but talent wise, I like Josh Jacobs. So about the $100 so I can get both versions. Okay. I reacted to all the games already. What's up, Amore? Time really flies. 2016 seems like it was yesterday. Indeed. What's up, Lights? Yeah, indeed. You know what I want to check? Let me see. How old is Melvin Gordon? Because at this point in time, I would take Melvin Gordon over Ezekiel Elliott. And Melvin not that old either. Melvin 29. Wow. Zeke not old, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know. It looked like he's slowing down, or maybe it's just Tony giving him good competition to where people are looking at it like, hey, Tony should be the starter now. It could be that. I don't know. Chargers as well. Eckler, Josh Jackson, and Roundtree get carries. Solid running backs. Yes, that's another situation. Chilling, everything good, man. Chilling. Josh Jacobs not even the best running back on his team. They look like they finna be running back by committee as well. So, who else? The Vikings. They can do the same thing with Dalvin Cook. He went out, and I think they had a running back that went out for 100 yards. Alexander Madison. I think he went out for 100 yards. If it wasn't him, it was another one of the running backs. And Madison is solid too. He a solid running back. Like, you don't have to be elite at the position. It's a video that I actually want to react to. I might, if I got the energy, bro, I'm gonna do it after this. But it was Melvin Gordon talking about the running back position itself. So we might touch on that. Zeke just hasn't been producing nearly enough for what he's been being paid. And you know what? Actually, I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. I think it's the amount he's getting paid relatively to the production more so. And I think that's what causes the chatter of, we paying him this much and Tony is solid. Why don't we just play Tony, you know? So that maybe that's the thing. Because Tony's not getting paid nowhere near as much as Zeke, I'm sure. So nice spin move.
When the Dallas Cowboys signed Ezekiel Elliott to a 6-year, $90 million
extension. 90 mil. Whoo. I ain't gonna lie. Maybe the price tag and the production does affect the perception. Because maybe what if Zeke was getting paid 50 million? Maybe people wouldn't even be talking that much about it. Maybe they would just be saying Zeke and Tony are a nice tandem, like how they say with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. But Nick Chubb a dog. I ain't gonna lie. So I don't know. 90 mil for a running back is wild. And that was Jerry Jones' decision. I think so too. Like, unless you like Adrian Peterson coming off the type of season he had, which was 2,000 yards, or even Derrick Henry. Like, I ain't gonna lie, at this point, I don't even know if I pay Derrick Henry that much either. But when you that dominant, maybe. I look at Adrian Peterson like he was a best running back of all time type player, arguably. So like at that point in time, I would have probably paid him. At that point in time, I would have paid him that much because he literally was the heart of that offense. He carried that offense. Zeke is like half of the offense. Zeke make the offense run, but Dak still produces. So I don't know. I feel like that conversation could go on all day, but we're gonna let this play.
In early 2019,
Zeke has a cap hit of 18 mil.
They had just solved a problem instead of creating one. After a thunderous start to his career, posting 1,630 yards and 15 touchdowns on the ground in just his rookie season, then following that up with an impressive sophomore
I was introduced to, I should react to throwback games again. Thursday, we can start doing that on Thursdays.
Zeke proved he was the perfect blend of power, speed, and athleticism, becoming one of the predominant weapons in the entire NFL. What do you do with the guy who was just the third?
Sorry, I don't mean to keep pausing, but LaDainian Tomlinson, I just got into football when he was in his prime, so like I really wasn't cognizant or completely aware of what I was watching. So, but I think LT, just knowing who LT was in the season, he had 28 touchdowns. That's another player though, 28 or 30 touchdowns, however many he had in the season, and the dominance that he was, you know, all around. You pay a type of player like that much bread. Zeke was good, but we all know how good that O-line was. So it's like y'all compliment each other. It's not just you. You know what I mean? So, but as far as throwback games, definitely, bro. Y'all remind me on Thursdays, so we can do Throwback Thursday. I'm definitely down for that. I could probably do like live streams directly on YouTube instead of Twitch. We'll see about that. It's an idea, but I'm definitely open to do them on Thursdays.
To ever total 6,300 scrimmage
or if I don't do
yards
them on
in
Thursdays,
his
I can just
first
post them on
50 career
Thursdays.
games, you extend him. You have to. But ever since the ink dried on that new deal, Zeke's production has slowly plummeted further and further. His yards from scrimmage, yards per touch, and attempts per game have each declined every year, and since posting 109 rushing yards per game in his rookie season, that number has fallen every year of his career until it crash landed at 59 in 2021.
It's unfortunate, bro. It's like, it's what it is. You don't maintain that explosiveness.
And nobody thought that fourth-round draft pick Tony Pollard would be anything more than a minor complimentary piece. But looking at last year's efficiency numbers, Pollard was the more productive player when it comes to yards per attempt, EPA, yards per touch, all
got
of
that
those.
burst.
So today we're going to get to the bottom
that
of
was
this
crazy.
debate. Who between the two is better? First, we'll kick it off with Zeke, diving into what he excels at, what he doesn't excel at, and then later get into Paul.
You about to get down to the nitty gritty. Who is better? All right, let's see.
Zeke is a grinding physical back with more of a gliding running style. He is a grandmaster chess player where he sets up moves, then knocks them down. He's a running back savant in that he can set up defenders at the first and second level to exploit holes that he himself has created. The best players can see things happen one step ahead, and that is very much Zeke. Here he sees the Giants have 2 high safeties, which typically means they don't have enough defenders in the box, so they'll have to rely on one of those deep safeties to come down at the snap. When defenses have the same amount of guys as the offense has blockers, if everyone gets blocked, you need an extra defender to hit the ball carrier or else he runs
That is
free.
one thing that's
So
important, bro.
when Zeke sees there are
IQ.
only 6 defenders and he has 7 blockers, he knows the safety is rotating down to gain
As a running back,
another
being able to
back.
read the
When he
defense,
sees heavy
knowing what to
flow
do,
from
be
linebacker
patient,
Tate Crowder and
knowing what to do in
safety
critical
Logan
situations.
Ryan, he knows he has numbers
That-
backside.
that
with
is
his 2
valued as
tight
well.
ends. Good running backs press gaps to set up the defense to get them out of position. So instead of immediately making this cut to the open gap to his left, Zeke presses the weak side A gap to keep Crowder and Ryan flowing to this side. And by once again pressing the next gap over,
Patience.
Ryan can't just mirror him immediately to the left. Plus, this helps Tyron Smith leverage his block even better. Because Zeke correctly presses his gap with sound technique, Ryan is just a hair
Patience,
too
man.
late and can't make the tackle. Zeke's style is extremely unique to just him. Naturally, all running backs watch the defensive line's movement to find open gaps, but Zeke's eyes are always trained on the second level. Once again, the Cowboys
That's a good
have
cut. He
their
need to
2
work on that
tight ends
balance,
on the
though, but that's a
line,
good
giving
cut. That
them
was
7
very nice.
blockers, and the Panthers have just 6, so Zeke knows this safety is rotating down. Watch his eyes when the play starts. Usually running backs have to read the mammoth behemoths to figure out which gaps to hit, but Zeke is able to feel that while his eyes are fixed on Shaq Thompson. He sees him quickly firing into the A-gap, so he presses that A-gap to force him inside so he can cut out. He's still processing the second level of the defense and knows that that safety is coming downhill hard too. So instead of just cutting straight upfield and risking Dalton Schultz's block becoming out-leveraged, he presses outside, then cuts upfield. He is extremely cerebral and can squeeze out every yard out of every play by executing the concept correctly. But there's been some obvious regression in his physical ability. Last year, he only broke 9 tackles. That is
Wow.
just 1 out of every 26 attempts. Good for 47th in the league, and his average yards after contact was just 1.7 yards, which was all the way down at 41st.
Wow.
Zeke's mind is writing checks that his body just can't cash, where he can set up defenders in the second level with his mind and technique, but can't burst through the first level and actually make it count. Even when the Cowboys scheme a one-on-one matchup with a cornerback in the alley, and every running back ever, I don't care if you're playing Pee-wee or D1, no running back should ever get tackled by a corner. Well, I didn't see Zeke crack any of these smaller dudes on all the film I watched. Last year, he didn't have the speed to affect defenses outside, so he couldn't threaten the edge. And since he already runs mostly inside the tackles, defenses just condense towards the middle even more, making his job that much more difficult. In outside zone, the running back reads the outside leg of the tight end or offensive tackle, and if he sees the defender flash outside of him, he'll start reading back inside till he finds an open gap. However, Zeke doesn't try and take the outside enough because his lack of speed just doesn't allow him to take the edge. Even when he has a clear open lane with nobody in front of him, he's just not exploding with speed outside and maximizing the play, a reason why last year he had just 3 runs of 20+ yards. This brings us to his counterpart Tony Pollard, who really couldn't be any more different. While Zeke is more of the glider, technical, cerebral type of running back, Pollard is more the dancer, creator type.
That was smooth.
He's continued to improve over his 3 seasons, and the Cowboys have rewarded him with more attempts per game, more targets per game, and his yards from scrimmage just keeps trending upwards.
I forgot what
His
game that was.
efficiency is
It was
one of the
earlier in the
best in the
season. I was like,
NFL
is
at
Tony starting? Like,
5.5
where is Zeke?
yards a pop,
Because he was
and
getting
advanced
so many
stats like
touches.
EPA and expected rushing yards over expectation really like him too. While he isn't quite as skilled in terms of maximizing space with technique like Zeke is, he's much more explosive at this point in his career. Here they're running outside zone where Pollard is reading the first level defenders outside in. When he sees Hassan Reddick flash outside, he starts progressing his reads back in, and then when he sees Daquan Jones start to push front side, he tries to cut back in to a wall. Pollard has excellent change of direction and footwork and can Victor Cruz his ass out of here where he turns a dead play into a 15-yard gain. He's not setting up defenses and thinking 1 or 2 steps ahead like Zeke, but that's also just not his game. He executes the concept,
if you got the speed to just go,
through gaps,
you don't really need
and
to
if suddenly a defender flashes into his face,
sit there and wait.
He can use his footwork or even at times power to get himself out of it. However, that means he's not always maximizing all the yardage he can, since running back technique is so critical, and he will leave some yards on the field. It is crucial that running backs stay tight to their blockers to help them gain better leverage on the defense. When Pollard sees this gaping hole wide open, he still has to use good technique to hit it to maximize the potential yardage. With Thompson in the second level matching his jab step, Pollard thinks he's taking care of him, but by not running tight to the butts of his blockers, Thompson is able to flow over the top and
I see what he's saying right there. I see.
Kinda hanging Terrence Steele out to dry.
Should have been a little more
and this
patient.
Play doesn't really go anywhere. The one area where he separates himself
That's
from
an interesting
Zeke
thing though
is,
about like
as I
Tyreek
said,
Hill. He is fast, but he knows like there'll be times where it looks like Tyreek is almost like jogging in place. Cause it's like he knows he's fast, but he has that IQ as well, or like to know what to do when it comes to making the right plays at certain times, or like making people miss. I'm not explaining. I feel like it's the best way to explain it is like exactly how they showed in the clip earlier with Zeke being patient and setting people up to have blockers in their face. Tyreek does that, and certain players who are fast, they don't have that thing, you know. Greg Dortch just go to, yeah, I saw he had a good game, man. Yeah, that catch was crazy, and then he had a good return as well. But a lot of players that don't have that ability, like even some speed players, they don't have the ability to be shifty. Again, Tyreek is a different thing. He's fast and he's shifty and he could juke and he could spin and he got some power to him. You know, some players are just straight. They just have straight line speed, and that's pretty much it for the most part. But that'll probably be something Tony need to add to his arsenal is just, you know, studying tape, studying defenses, you know, building the IQ up. You know, Zeke was Tony with the IQ when, you know, a few years ago, pretty much that's who he was. But I think Tony might be a little faster than what Zeke was, but Zeke was still fast. But I don't know. At his autograph at training camp. Oh, that's
Pollard
dope.
can threaten the edge on outside zone, and he can also beat defenders to his spot in ways last year Zeke couldn't. On a given play, there are spots in the defense that running backs have to be able to get to, and Pollard right now is just better at getting to those spots than Zeke is. He provides more of a ceiling for each touch, where Zeke provides more of a floor. This is a good example of a play that Zeke could probably pick up a nice chunk on. Possibly he wouldn't be able to pick up any yardage at all, but a play that Pollard is capable of making and can capitalize on big time. I'm not sure Zeke has the explosiveness and speed to get out of the way of Carl Granderson tearing ass upfield, and if he did, I don't think he'd have the acceleration to be running fast enough to break this tackle, since he'd be taking it more head on, whereas Pollard's speed turns it into more of an arm tackle. And I certainly don't think Zeke has the long speed to take this to La Casa. There are some other elements to this Zeke versus Pollard debate that I think have to be factored in. First, their roles in this offense are extremely different, where since Zeke is the volume grinder back, he has 20 extra pounds on his frame, so he can take all the punishment, plus a heavier workload.
I considered that. I definitely considered that.
So he can be elite in pass protection, and he's asked to grind in between the tackles where there are inherently more bodies and less room to run.
They still use them both in different situations. I considered that.
Outside of the tackle box where there are inherently fewer defenders and more room to work. and he can use his speed and agility to capitalize on all that space.
Now,
He
that's just where the
registered
question
3
stands. Like, is Zeke worth that 90 mil? At the time, he was, but like now, it's like, But again, if he wasn't being paid that much, I think this really wouldn't even be a conversation. I think it would just be, this is a really nice tandem.
0.1 yards before contact, 7th best in the NFL, and Zeke's was lesser so, not horrible, at 2.5, which was 18th. He deals with stacked boxes 5% more than Pollard, so when he isn't threatening the edge, can't get outside with speed, and is getting more stacked boxes, his stats just aren't gonna look great. Speed isn't everything at the running back position, but if you can't threaten the edge, it's a problem. And if you're not fast and then also can't break tackles, well, that's why we've seen Zeke struggle. In his first 6 games last year, he got off to an impressive 5.1 yards a run, but then after that, the rest of the way fell all the way down to just 3.5. He did have a partially torn PCL in his right knee, which happened right around when he started to fall off, so his sluggish performance on the field, at least this last year, could be due to injury rather than the great decline. It's important that we contextualize
When injuries add up, could be that. It actually could be that.
How their roles differ, how the volume of those roles differ, and what that means moving forward.
And then he's so much of a bruiser back. Like,
yes.
Oof, that was nice.
Should he take over as the Cowboys?
Now, that's why I brought up Melvin. I don't think Melvin Gordon is injured that much. And then Melvin isn't like full on just like power back between the tackles all the time. Melvin a little shifty. Melvin got some speed to him. Melvin gonna step out of bounds a little bit here and there, you know. I don't just remember him consistently being like downhill, just overly aggressive runner. And I'm not saying Zeke overly aggressive, but he did have that bruiser ability. I think it's because he's most expensive running back. Nobody considers him to be the best running back or even one of the best anymore. Yeah, I think it's just perception. The perception is there of him falling off because the production does not meet the payment. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is. I think I would have to blame the scheme. They got a solid scheme though. Like how he pointed out, like it's the concepts that they use them in. They use them in different situations and scenarios. I think it's the perception, like I said, is caused by the production. Kind of reminds me of Melvin Gordon versus Austin Eckler debate when they were both on the Chargers. But you got Melvin Gordon in the same position with Javonte Williams right now, and Melvin not getting paid like that. You know what I mean? Like he getting his money, but he not getting paid like how he wanted to. You know, he thought that's why he held out at first, because he thought he was that guy. But at the same time, they know it's being known that running backs are replaceable at this point. Javonte better. Javonte's ceiling is higher as of right now, but Melvin's still productive, bro. I ain't gonna lie, in my opinion. Melvin is very productive, like very. Zeke numbers been going down in the last 4 to 5 years. Yeah, I think he pointed that out earlier. Chargers made the decision not to pay him.
Yeah. Yes. Should he take over as the Cowboys' lead back? No. The Cowboys do have an out from Zeke's contract after this season, so now that he's fully healthy and he's got pressure to prove who he really is, it's time for him to take this thing back over, prove that he is Ezekiel Elliott, and that he is the Dallas Cowboys running back.
I can agree with this take.
Thank you.
I think what they should do is so I'd rather have Melvin over Austin, or Melvin over Javonte. Good vid, indeed. But I agree with that take, because like he said, Zeke is more of a volume back. When you put Tony in there, he got fresh legs, so you need that speed right then and there. He got fresh legs, so you let Zeke do the grinding, and then Tony come in and make the big plays. But again, it's like I said, you don't pay 90 mil to a grinder. You know what I mean? Unless that's your lead back. Full time, like one through 4 downs. Rather have Kareem Hunt over everybody. You out. Harris. Which Harris? Talking about Najee? let me see if I can find that other video where Melvin was talking about the running back position.